When a tree is this young, the mature bark characteristics have not yet developed, right? Bark develops throughout the lifetime of an individual tree. And often a sapling will not have the characteristic bark you're used to seeing to identify a tree. I think bark is the most useful way to identify most trees, just because it's there all year long, and you don't have to look for it, you know. If you have to look for it, something's really wrong with the tree. However, people often struggle with using bark to identify trees when they're young because the bark is not yet formed in a characteristic way. The way bark eventually forms and appears so characteristically different between species is bark is laid down as a rigid layer in youth around the outside of a trunk, and the trunk continues to grow from within, rupturing the bark that is produced outside the zone of growth. So if you were to put a hardened sleeve on a 2-year-old on their arm, eventually that sleeve would rupture as the kid grows. And that's what happens to bark. Bark is a rigid layer that's produced from within the boundary of expansion. And so it is ruptured continuously throughout the life of a tree. And in youth, a lot of barks look relatively similar because they're all just smooth, regular. They've got some little dots on them. They've got maybe some little color. But they're often not very characteristic. As the tree grows, all bark ruptures in different ways, characteristically.